Hi, I'm back again. My name is Lindsay Pullman, and I am a certified life coach through the Life Coach School with Brooke Castillo. Okay, so in this blog post, I talk about my anger and despair that I had to reconcile with God. So I'm not sure if um, this belief that I am about to tell you was culturally indoctrinated to me, or if I just kind of used my analytical brain to believe this. But I had this idea that if I just check off all the boxes, like these important boxes, that my life would be good, and that I'd be just kind of sitting kind of pretty. And looking back, like this was a thought, and this was an optional thought that I was choosing to believe. So I checked off a lot of boxes. I graduated from high school. I went to BYU Provo. I got a technical undergraduate degree. I met and married an awesome guy with similar values as me. I moved on to get my technical master's degree. Uh, Competed in an Olympic triathlon with my husband. I supported my husband as he went on to get uh, his degrees and things like that. I worked my butt off while he was in dental school. I passed the CPA exam. It's just checking off these boxes. And I just thought, like, this is it. This is the step. These are the steps I need to make to have this life that's just more simple. And I just kind of thought that, like, by doing this, I was going to be entitled to kind of just not coast through life without problems, that, like, my problems wouldn't be as bad. Um, and I just thought, like, doing all this legwork would get me to a place where I wouldn't have, like, really big things happen, or when big things happen, they'd be less big. I don't know if that makes any sense, but I kind of just had this mindset that this would, um, I guess, you know what it probably is. It's more like I wouldn't have certain types of problems. Like, if I get my master's degree in accounting, and if my husband gets his degree as a dentist, then we will never have to worry about money again. So things like that, like, maybe not never having problems again, but certain types of problems, I guess, right? So I had my first baby. I said goodbye to the working world for a while, and I was excited about it. And I did another triathlon. It was awesome. I wasn't, like, crazy competitive in them. These were just for me to kind of compete and work on my own personal records. Husband graduated from dental school. Check. We were reaching these goals. We felt satisfied. We moved to Oregon. We had our second baby, Marcus. We set more goals. We moved back to Utah. Danny found a great job and was on track to become a partner and buy in. Check. We moved into a house. Check. I got certified to become a spin and check instructor. Check. And then we had our third baby, and it was beautiful and amazing. And I didn't realize this at the time, maybe because I was in my, just recovering from having a baby. But Danny was just putting a lot of pressure on himself to just do everything perfectly. And, hindsight's always 2020. Looking back, I see more like, oh, okay, that's why. That's why. He would come home from work exhausted, but I thought it was just because he had a very physically demanding job. And the reason I thought that is because that's what he would tell me. But then he had his first panic attack, and that's when things changed. And I was left feeling very alone, trying to keep things together in front of the kids, but just, like, asking Heavenly Father, like, why is this happening? Like, we did everything we were supposed to do to have this, like, in this case, financial security. Like, we've been responsible. We moved into this house. We haven't, like, gone crazy and, like, bought all these cars, you know what I mean? Like, we've just been really responsible. And I was grieving, and I complained to God, and I definitely, like, my faith was being tested for sure. Um, it was being tested, and, thankfully my foundation remained pretty strong. Um, and even though that foundation was strong, I was still mad, and I was confused about my situation. And looking back, it's interesting because I feel like I was able to reconcile this stuff with Heavenly Father. And, but I think it's important to share, like, looking back, I don't regret, like, the anger that I might have directed towards Him, or being mad at Him, or confused, or just questioning Him, like, being like, why is this happening to me? And I think the reason I don't regret that is because I want to have a relationship with my children where they can come to me when they need to, and they can vent, and they can be mad, and they can be inconsolable, and they can be they're like their complete and absolute selves to me, and I can just love them completely and be okay. And I remember listening to a podcast where this guy talked about God and people complaining towards God, and this guy at the end of his podcast was like, God can handle it. And I remember just being like, yeah, yes, he can handle it. And I guess since then, I think of our Heavenly Father as this guy with this killer self-esteem, like an amazing self-esteem. And he's okay with us coming to him with everything. He wants us to, just like we would want our children to, just like we would want our best friends to come to us if they needed to. Um, I also want to share, like, I spent a lot of time questioning, like, why this has been thrust upon me. I didn't choose this path. And, I, th- when I think about it, I don't know, I feel like in some weird way, I probably did choose it. Um, and I don't have to get to the bottom of that. I don't need to know that right now. But I do know that through this process, I received some blessings that helped me to know that, like, Heavenly Father is aware of me. And this sustained my inkling of hope that things could get better. And I want to share with you guys this, like, as I opened up more to God with how I felt, instead of like backing off and not wanting Him to be a part of things, I slowly kind of opened up more and more to Heavenly Father. And I chose to think thoughts that led me to feel love towards Him and to feel His influence and love more in my life. And I just want to say, I know that God is with me, and I know that He's with all of us. And life is hard, and it's just hard. This is a tough experience for everybody. We all have our own trials, and I'm finally starting to see the bigger purposes of my trials. And it's blows my mind that I can even say this today, but it is beautiful. It's beautiful, and it's been one of the hardest things I've ever had to go through in my life. But I love who I've become through this. And if I could pick Lindsay Pullman 2014, 2015 versus Lindsay Pullman today, I pick Lindsay Pullman today. And I also just love that even if I had to like step back with my communication from Heavenly Father to just assess things and like take space uh, and heal in my own way, I know that He stayed constant. And I love knowing that when I decided to open back up to Him and go back towards Him and kind of like not rebuild this relationship, but kind of just like, just be more connected with Him, He was there, and He'd always been there, and He was just waiting for me with open arms. And I'm so grateful um, for the knowledge that I have that he's been here with me through all of this. And even when there were times where it didn't feel that way, and that's normal. You might feel that way. You might feel alone. Um, but looking back, I know that He was there, and I know that He's always been aware of me, and I know that He's aware of you too. So anyway, it was kind of just, it was a long process for me. Um, this reconciling with God, this didn't happen in like a month. This was probably over the span of a year. I would take space, but I would still move towards Him, and then I would take space. But I think the beautiful thing is, like, I was able to like heal in my organic way, the way I needed to, because God allows me to take the space that I need for myself. And He allowed that for me so that I could heal that way and then rebuild my relationship with Him to a place where it could be even stronger um, than it was 3 years ago. So I just want to leave that with you guys. Have a good day. Bye.